Hirap na po kaming mag-anak. Tambak po ang labahin, wala pong lutong ulam, ang dumi-dumi po ng bahay. Ang mga anak po namin 3 araw na pong walang ligo. Hindi ko po siya makausap na ng maayos. Wala po siyang ginawa kundi makinig ng podcast. Yun po bang The Balut Kiki Project? Kung saan po siya nakikinig, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Podchaser. Maya't maya po bigla na lang pong tatawa, bigla na lang pong iiyak habang nakikinig. Ano po bang meron sa podcast na yan? Ano po bang meron sa The Balut Kiki Project podcast na yan?
The Balut Kiki Project. Batteries not included.
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars 6 and take it home. This podcast is a member of Bun Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. It's Friday. And you know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the new era of the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Fuck. Hindi ko parang mas stable yung mic ko na nakakainis. Okay. So, this is the new era now of the show. Every Fridays, magre-remain tayo on Fridays until further notice. Hanggat kaya ko pa, magre-remain tayo on Fridays. Hindi tayo mag-set ng permanent time pero today is the day. Okay, welcome to the show. Like what I said, this is the first episode of the new era. So, malamang sa malamang makikita nyo na yung new logo, new graphics of the show. Siguro, nagtatry ako na gawing versatile yung mga graphics dito sa show na to. So, malamang sa malamang may makikita kayong difference dyan. And, to be fair, dapat, saka ako nakikikwento to. Basta ang short story lang yan is, dapat last year to pinagplanuhan nung nag-jump ako from that network, from Pipe, nag-jump ako dito, dapat kasabay yon. Pero nag-isip muna ako kung mag-workout ba yung rebranding and saka ako i-execute. So malamang dapat kasabay ito nung season premiere namin last May, noong doubler natin. Pero ito, mukhang perfect timing na to para ma-execute yung rebranding. So, welcome back to the show. Here's our season, still on season 4, episode 410. Episode 410. Episode 110 here on the podcast. So, in case you missed our episode last Wednesday, 109, yung ating tribute on Impact Wrestling. So, Impact is turning 20 this weekend. We're going to talk about more on this week's episode of the pod. So, it's gonna be a big podcast na we're going to do the predictions. WWE's Number Knockers. We have 3 WWE and AEW Number Knockers here tonight. Then, of course, our typical Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite. And yung ating pong predictions for this year's Slammiversary pay-per-view event na mangyayari this Sunday, Monday, Manila time. Kasabay na kasabay noong anniversary ng Impact Wrestling. So before we start officially on our show, please support the podcast on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, on the TikTok at the MPA Show Pod. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search the MPA Show Podcast. Makikita nyo na yun sa pag-search pa lang sa YouTube. Isa pa lang yung video doon kasi hindi ko siya ginagamit as regular. Hindi ako nag-upload doon ng pod kasi may Spotify naman, may Apple naman. And you can listen naman sa Google Podcast. So yun lang ang reason. That's why hindi ko ginagalaw yung YouTube for now. Pero please mag-subscribe kayo sa YouTube channel ng The MPA Show Pod. Okay. So let's start with our news for the week. So 1 of 3. So let's start with Jeff Hardy. So Jeff Hardy got arrested last Monday morning in the US. So here's the news. So 3 officers were apparently so concerned about the state of Jeff Hardy after they pulled him over on Monday morning. Then ayun, so naganap yung pag-aresto sa Florida Highway. In Florida siya ay nagda-drive ng laseng. Oh boy, this is another Jeff Hardy moment. No offense to Jeff Hardy fans here, pero tanungin ko nga kayo. Meron ba sa inyong nagsabi last year na tanda-tanda ko pa noong dinemote si Jeff from that role to this role? Tandaan nyo ba yon? Noong nag 24/7 tyro si Jeff? Siyempre, wala na makakatanda sa inyo. Pero ako, tanda ako. Na I'm sad on Jeff Hardy's role right now. Yep, I'm sad about that. Pero hindi na kasi si Jeff yung napapanood natin ngayon. Hindi na rin this is not the same Jeff Hardy that we watched from 2000s. Hindi na ito yon. Tumatanda na si Jeff. Nag-i-stiff na siya. So, kung nilagay siya sa 24/7, kung in-accept niya yung therapy from WWE, yung kaso wala. I-reject. And mamaya pag-usapan pa natin. So, we got that scoop here. So, he got arrested in a expressway. I think this is a expressway for DUI. Nakainom na naman ito. So, in the footage doon sa video, if you napanood yun naman, yung cops and pinigil si Jeff on the freeway after they said na there's swerving all over the road and driving erratically. Tama. Then, walked to his car and appeared to shout orders at him through his windows. Hindi din naman nagko-comply itong isa. Then, he has no choice. Inopen yung pinto. And, kung nakikita niyo sa footage, siya ay nakasuot ng Jaguars t-shirt. Nakatayo sa kanyang upuan. Di siya steady doon. And, pawambul-bambul pa. Then, during questioning, Hardy appeared to admit to drinking shots of fireball before getting behind the wheel. Eventually, officers took Hardy away from the busy highway into a parking lot to perform tests. So nakita nga doon na DUI, yung sabit ni Jeff, and he got arrested. So ngayon, ang actions ng AEW, ito nagbayad din pala si Jeff dito. Nagbayad siya, piyansa. Pero nagbigay din ng actions si TK and Warner. So TK suspended him without pay. Then, tawag dito, yung Warner, they decided to pull and inutusan nila yung AEW to pull everything related kay Jeff Hardy from his match last Thursday sa Dynamite. And yung lahat ng promotionals, everything related Jeff Hardy, they decided to pull it out. Then ayun. So also, may report ang Fightful Select na several talents who revealed that Jeff and his brother were strongly being considered for a AEW World Tag Team title run before Double or Nothing. This was a cause of concern for some talent who told Fightful that they had heard rumors of Hardy being intoxicated on two previous occasions. One of these instances is during WrestleMania. Then, talent also noted to Fightful that there was concern over Hardy's performance at AEW Double or Nothing, where he was noticeably off during the Hardy's victory over the Young Bucks in the second match of the card. So, Matt Hardy claimed that Jeff suffered a head injury early in the match. So, na-report pa ng Fightful na because of the Double or Nothing match and concerns coming about it, talk to the Hardys getting a tag title shots, and because of the match with the Young Bucks slated to win the tag titles off. Yun na nga. So, yun na nga yung nangyari. Last Wednesday, itong nangyari episode on Dynamite. So, Hardys, supposedly sila dapat yung mananalo, but instead, Bucks won the titles instead. Okay, so may setup pa dapat na it's gonna be a trio ladder match for the AEW tags. And also, ayun na nga, concerned na nga ito, syempre, na tinape a week prior yun eh. No? Then, revealed din ni TK nung nakaraang Tuesday, I think, na Jeff Hardy has been suspended without pay following his DUI arrest and will be unable to return to AEW until he completes treatment for his addictions and maintains sovereignty for an unknown amount of time. So, ayun nga, inalis na nga sila doon. So, 2-on-2. Eto, para sa akin lang, I'm going to give you guys unbiased opinion about this. Sasabihin ko sa inyo, kung prime, eto kasi si Jeff, hindi na to isang beses nangyari sa kanya na sumabit siya sa ganito. Man, lalo tag title match pa to. So parang, I'm so fucking upset on him. That one. But, hindi rin natin masisisi if yung pa-shot-shot niya ng ganyan, aabot sa ganito. Sobrang sakit. Yung mga Jeff Hardy fans dito, I know, alam ko na nalulungkot din kayo on him. Na ganito yung naabutan niya. Ganito yung ginagawa niya. But, being a Jeff Hardy fan is really hard right now. And, it's pretty disappointing at this point na Jeff Hardy doing this stupidity stuff. Sobrang sayang. I can say sobrang sayang. Sana mabalik pa yung dating Jeff. Sana makapag-recover siya ng mabuti. And sa TK naman, kung ibabalik niya ng matino pagkatapos itong recovery na to, I hope na wag mo nang bigyan ang Hardys ng malaking role like the tag title run. Wala na. Disgrasya ang binibigay ng Hardys eh. I'm not saying here na masama sila. Hindi ko rin sinasabi na sadyang nadidisgrasya kasi yung company pag binibigyan sila ng ganun. Lalo't sumasabit-sabit niya si Jeff. And syempre, yung kapatid niya, si Matt, sumasabit din. Syempre, kung kasabihin ko naman na hindi niya ginusto yung ganun nangyari, hindi ko rin masisisi si Matt if he said that. Pero, malamang, it's pretty disappointing ako talaga dismaya ako on Matt, on Jeff Hardy's actions on this. Sana ayusin niya buhay niya. Please, I know Jeff, you can fix yourself. Please recover and be like John Moxley. Sana makabalik ka sa scene ng maayos. Di na ganyan. And I know kaya mo yan. Pero I'm going to say din na pag ganito, alam mo, please don't give them big roles talaga. No? Yung mga ganyang treatments kasi di na to once nangyari, hindi na to once, twice, or ilan din na to isang beses lang eh. Kung isang beses magkakaintindihan tayo, eh ilang beses na to nangyari, di ba? But yeah, yun. So that's our take on Jeff Hardy. We're going to talk about another one big development. So it's a report from Wall Street Journal. The report siya on Wednesday. So WWE board opened its investigation into Vince McMahon's 3 million settlement for an ex-employee silence. So, summary na lang natin to. So, the board of WWE is investigating a secret 3 million settlement dollars yun that company CEO Vince McMahon agreed to make to a former employee over alleged affair, according to a Wall Street Journal report. So, the separate agreement which was signed in January 2022 is meant to prevent the now former employee from discussing her relationship with the company or making bad comments against him. According to the journal, an email sent to the WWE board of members March 30 indicates that the 76-year-old Vince hired the former staffer 41 on a $100,000 salary and then gave her a raise of $200,000 after of the start of the alleged sexual relationship with her. The report, citing documents and the accounts of people familiar with the board inquiry, said the board investigation begins in April and has uncovered other non-disclosure agreements over the years involving the company, especially against employees, then misconduct claims. Ayun, so ulitin natin. So, they covered investigation began in April and has uncovered other non-disclosure agreements over the years involving misconduct claims from former employees against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, aka WWE's head of talent relations. The email sent to the board regarding the former WWE employee who was hired as paralegal in 2019 alleged that Mr. McMahon gave the woman to Laurinaitis like a toy. The board is investigating the email's allegations as stated by the report. So sinabi din doon na the board is retained the law firm, yun, yung law firm, to conduct the investigation and that payments of other non-disclosure agreements outside of the one involving the former employee. And total loan is $3 million. And yun. So, medyo, ganito yun. So, si Nick Khan sangkot din dito. There's a lot of names na sangkot dito sa napakalaking controversial na to. Ayoko na sana magkomento dito kasi mahina ako sa ganito. Aminin ko na. Pero let me tell you something na medyo naiinis ako. Kasi yung mga ganito kasi medyo mahirap siyang pag-usapan. Lalo't you don't know or hindi ka parte ng business. No? Pero ang mali dito, Vince McMahon is giving a lot of his money to somebody, especially this paralegal, whatever, former employee, na kala mo free, ganyan. And parang lumalabas dito habang nawawala-wala yung kanyang mga anak. Yan, si Shane, nawala sa si Steph, nawala rin sa company. She took a leave of absence, malamang sa malamang part of the development. Si H kakabalik lang pero wala na. Hindi na siya ganong mahawak ng role since that day. Si Nick Khan naman, pataas na din. If if board of directors WWE has decided to oust Vince McMahon from his position as the chairman of the board, there's a big chance of Nick Khan taking his position. Ganun lang yun. Diba? Pero hindi muna ako magkakomento dito. Siguro magre-research pa ako ng konti ng mas masinsinan sa issue na to. And siguro pag may instances pa, updates pa, we're going to give you guys updates. Pero yun lang muna. Ayoko muna magkomento about this story. Okay? But that's the news. Then, third story of the week before we go to our first commercial break. So, Sasha Banks has been reported being released by WWE. Okay. So, Sasha Banks has been released by WWE according to Wrestle Inc.'s Raj Giri. According to Raj, it's unknown at this point if Banks requested the release or if the decision came from the company. As noted earlier, Banks underwent PRK eye surgery earlier this week, and several images and videos from her surgery surfaced on social media. And yun yung rare appearances niya since the suspension. So, yun na nga, hindi ko na ikikwento yung mga nangyari before that. Then, ayun. So, yeah, hindi pa siya confirm ha. Linawin ko sa inyo, hindi pa confirm na marirelease si Sasha from her contract. Hindi rin positive yung mga dumalabas sa social media na they oust her from the company or she asked for her release. Pero definitely malaking kawalan si Sasha if she will leave the company or she will be released from the company. Regardless on what's going to happen o kung ano yung mangyayari, Sasha Banks gonna be a big kawalan from WWE. Yun ang i-guarantee ko sa inyo. But regardless, hindi ko muna sasabihin na release na si Sasha. Hindi ko rin muna i-confirm na, okay, Sasha Banks got released from her contract. No, it's not the case here. The case here, Sasha Banks has reportedly been released by WWE. That's the perfect, yung mga nagbabasa-basa dyan sa mga dirt sheet, tingnan nyo muna yung mga pinagbabasa nyo bago kayo mag-assumption or everything. Kaya nga ini-specific Means, nagagalit nga rin si SRS about that stuff. Medyo di kasi marunong magbasa yung tao. Parang yung 31 million. You don't know what's up Mga ganyan tao. You don't know what's up. And either way, you didn't care about that one, no? But okay. So, if ever naman wala si Sasha, it's gonna be a big loss for WWE. And kung sino man ang makakuha sa kanya, it's gonna be a big gain. O pag hindi na siya nagreso o nagtuloy na siya full-time as an actress in Hollywood, malaking gain din yun. Kasi maganda naman yung nangyari sa kanya, no? So at least, diba? Yun na. So, yun lang muna ang developments natin for Sasha Banks on this week's episode of the pod. And yun kay Jeff and yung kay Vince, for now, hindi ko muna sasasalin na mabuti. I'm going to give myself time para masalasal ng mabuti yung balita na yun. So, yun, for now, we're going to take our first commercial break. Lagi ng another naman. We're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite. And then on our third portion of the show, we're going to talk about Slammiversary 2022. But first, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
So Mars, what na? Do you want to talk about everything and anything under the sun? Listen to our fellow Pinoy stories or just catch up? Big kwento?
Why not? Here at Mars What Na podcast, everything is free-flowing, like the alcohol that we may or may not be drinking.
You've got your Kumars Michelle and
Bethany, here finding what makes us distinctly Pinoy, our similarities, our differences.
covering the topics about Pinoy experience from the motherland and abroad.
Catch us on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Kita Kits!
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
I can't. I'm sick.
Weh, yung tataa.
Boo, you whore. Di-lockdown pa rin.
Huh? 2021 na.
So, anong gagawin natin?
Eh di, magstay na lang sa house at makinig sa Astrology, the podcast. With new episodes every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Yon, so if you want to support the podcast on Lazada, please use my link on the description below, podlink.co/6gs. Again, that's podlink.co/6gs. Parating na yung 7/7. Abangan nyo lang yan in a few weeks. Tapos lagi naman nagsisale dyan sa Lazada. So if you want to support the pod on Lazada, use my link on the description below, podlink.co/6gs. And thank you for the support for everybody who is supporting this podcast. Whenever I go, kahit saan man ako mapadpad, maraming salamat sa patuloy na pakikinig dito sa podcast. Okay, let's start our WWE review with SmackDown. So we got Ganta. Ganta is your new Intercontinental Champion. He defeated Ricochet in a title match. So therefore, Ganta won his first title after noong kanyang NXT UK title run. So in my opinion, that's deserved. Better sana lang ay ma-defend daw ulit sa mga premium live events. Long overdue na din kay Ganta na makapunta sa main roster, and I'm glad na they're giving him a better run kaysa doon sa mga ina-expect ko before. And yeah, so I'm impressed. Congratulations for the win. Ricochet is a fantastic wrestler. Para sa akin, meron pang siyang mapapatunayan, and he is a very good wrestler. I wish WWE di siya matadrop sa WWE. Okay? So next, Ricochet tuloy. So Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus fought for the Money in the Bank qualifying match, and the match ends by no contest. Of course, they're protecting both of them. So gusto nila din mapapasok pareha sa match, pero di ba natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari. Those punks. Meanwhile, on the women's side of things, so Lacey Evans qualified for the Women's Money in the Bank for SmackDown, as well as Alexa Bliss, and Liv Morgan on Raw. Then, so we got the main event for this week's SmackDown, the upcoming episode. So that's Riddle versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. So it's gonna be the first time Roman Reigns will defend the championship for the very first time since WrestleMania. So Roman Reigns, in my opinion, in reality lang guys, dinawin ko sa inyo, hindi pa matatalo si Roman. Maghahanap pa tayo ng threat for the win, no? For Roman's title. Sino ba pwede makatalo kay Roman at this point? Siyempre, wala, di ba? Aside kay Drew, wala, di ba? Aside kay Cody, wala, di ba? Kasi mahirap mag-expectate ng ganyan. Mahirap mag-expectate tapos di naman magkakatotoo din, di ba? Okay, for now, I'm going to put my gauntlet talaga kay Drew. Kay Riddle kasi medyo tagilid. Si Orton, nalabanan niya daw on SummerSlam. Mga bali-balita dyan sa rumors, third shit. Then, Roman is set to lose the title at the Clash of the Castle sa September sa UK. Let's see kung ano pa yung mga pwedeng mangyari. Okay, so next, let's talk about Raw. So, Seth Rollins, yun. So, I love his promo interview backstage. Ito, in-address niya si Cody, and he said na that assault was for Cody. And this match on this week's Raw with versus AJ Styles is for Cody as well. So, ewan ko, natatawa ako, napipigil about that promo. But, yeah, I think I'm impressed by this Rollins right now. I don't know, but yes, my favorite right now to win the men's Money in the Bank. Ewan ko yung sa women's. Okay, next. So, yun nga, sinabi ko na yung kay Lexi, kay Liv, they're now qualified for the women's Money in the Bank. I love their tag team. In my opinion, sobrang ganda ng chemistry nila so far. I wish na magtuloy-tuloy to regardless of if they're going to win the Money in the Bank or not. Okay, so plus, yun nga, Seth Rollins defeated AJ Styles to be part of the Money in the Bank ladder match in this year's Money in the Bank. Okay. So Ezekiel and Kevin Owens fought in a Hell in a Cell rematch. So KO defeated Elias, Ezekiel. Then Elias set to return on next week's episode of Raw. Hulaan ko na, mukhang pre-tape ito. Kung pakatotoo na tayo. So, negative ako kay, kay Damian Sandow for now. At least for now, negative ako sa kanya na babalik siya ng company. But, if he is, kung babalik siya, edi congratulations. Gago. Di, para sa akin lang, magandang development sana if si Damian Sandow talaga yung babalik na magiging stand the wall ni Elias. Gonna be good, for sure. Pero hindi yun ang posibleng mangyari talaga. Okay, next. So, we're going to talk about the final segment of this week's Raw. Ano ba? Tangin, hindi ko rin mabasa yung sulat ko So, yung main event segment of this Raw was a post-off between Lashley and Austin Theory. So, Theory. Ewan ko, kailangan mo ba salasalin i-topic to? Pero they're leaning to John Cena versus they're leaning to John Cena versus Austin Theory for Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. Pero let's see kung ano pa yung mga pwede nilang katarantaduan and pwede nilang i-book for the next few months. Okay? So, yun lang. Hindi ako satisfied na ganito yung na-end yung episode. I'm glad na hindi ko napanood to. Okay? Then, ayun. So, let's go to NXT. So, we got an NXT title match. So, it's Braun Breaker versus Doc Hudson. That was a pretty good match. And acknowledge ko lang na maganda yung laban nila. Excuse me. Then we got NXT tag titles between Creed Bros versus Blade and Edris. Ah, man. I promise then na it's gonna be a good run for Creeds for sure. Di ko muna ka-questionin kung sino yung pwede makatalo sa kanila. For now, hindi ko muna ka-questionin sino ba pwede makatalo sa mga to ganito? No, not today. Di ko muna ka-questionin kung sino yung pwede makatalo. Okay. So, Giovanni Vinci. I don't know, tama ba pag ko? Giovanni Vinci. Bullshit. But regardless, he made this debut. Man. I don't know. Sana i-fix pa ng NXT yung gimmick. Di ako ganong impressed dito kay former Fabian Aichner. They need to enhance or pagandahin pa yung gimmick na to. Sana ma-explain pa sana ng mabuti yung gimmick. Ayun, Giovanni, Vinci, Giovanni, whatever. Tangan na natatawa ka. Okay, finally on the main event of this week's NXT was a 6-woman tag. So, Toxic Attraction versus Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Indy Hartwell. So, that was a fantastic 6-woman tag in my opinion. So, napapakita natin yung performance ni Roxanne. And at the same time, nakikita rin natin yung galing din ni Indy, tsaka ni Indy Hartwell. Tsaka syempre, wag niyo kakalimutan si Cora Jade. Cora Jade is binuburo din for future. And In my opinion, sayang nga, missed opportunity, dapat dinarap na din yung women's tag titles. We don't need the all belts at this point. I don't know if ako lang ang may gusto. Pero sabihin ko sa inyo, the women's tag titles, at this point, they should drop it to double KT, double KC, no? At this point, dapat dinarap na nila yung tag titles eh. Parang sobrang unnecessary na natin. Okay. So, yun. Tapos na tayo sa NXT. Let's talk about Dynamite and Dominion. So, konting talks lang about Dominion. Oo, di ko isasama yung G1 sa ngayon. Siguro, pag-usapan na natin next week yung G1 pag meron ng lineup. So, i-announce din by January 21. February 21. June 21 yung lineup for G1. So, it's gonna be 7 participants per block. So, 4 blocks to. Yung top 1 on each block will face each other in semis. Then, the finals will face each other. Sino may manalo ng matches from each block. Okay? Ganon na magiging system for this year's G1 Climax. So, yun. So, the headliners of this year's Dominion was a Jay White victory. So, Jay White defeated Kazuchika Okada in a IWGP World Heavyweight title match at Dominion. So, that's a shake-up for Forbidden Door. And, that's a really good match. If i-rate ko yung match, I would say 5/5. I love the matchup. Sobrang deserve na to na Jay White, long overdue at this point. And ayun, post-match promo ni Jay White, he mentioned, and nag-shoot siya against AEW. And he called out Hangman din na na pwede niya daw makalaban si Okada kasi hindi niya daw mabibigyan ng title shot. Sinabi niya rin yun ng Dynamite. So, yeah. Yun lang. So, plus additionally, so Will Ospreay is your new United States champion after Sanada defeated Sanada to rin. Juice Robinson vacated the title due to di pwede sabihin injury. So, nagka-problema yung kanyang appendix. Appendicitis ba yan? Appendix. Basta ganun. He decided to vacate the title due to some things nangyari in his health. So, get well soon, sir. And ayun. So, ang problema, where's the title? Where's the title? Asan yung belt? Ayun. So, may story dito panigurado na i-unify yung belts, ganyan. Ang labo. Basta nalalabuan ako. Yun, for now. So, yun lang for G1. For G1. For Dominion, let's talk about Dynamite before we go to our second commercial break. So first, Jericho versus Santana Ortiz. Ortiz lang. So, Jericho defeated Ortiz and Ortiz defeated to shave his hair on his own. So, okay. Yeah, so that match ended with a distraction. So, after Fuego del Sol, ayun, na-reveal siya as Sammy Guevara na naka Fuego del Sol gear. So, yun, okay. That's a big development for Sammy and kinakapitalize talaga nila yung heel mode ni Sammy. So, it's good para sa akin. Yun. So we got the Wardlow versus 20 security members. Then, ayun, pinababa pa ni Ungas na Dan Lambert, sila Matthews, tsaka Tyron Woodley. But they declined the shit and Mark Sterling takes the power bomb. Symphony, you deserve it. Then, ayan, so we got a fantastic match. So Dax Harwood versus Will Ospreay in a non-title match. That's a really good match from both guys. Man, I want to give props to Dax talaga kasi sobrang galing. Sobrang galing na talaga. Si Will, syempre, is a great wrestler. Syempre, don't need to doubt about him. Yeah. So next, let's talk about the Tana Moxley promo. So, ayun, nag-interrupt din dito si Chris Jericho. Then, he announced that he will team up with Suzuki Gun versus Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and a guy from New Japan as well, yung kasama ni Mox. Siguro, pag-usapan natin next week. But yun, so they're going to team up against JAS, Ortiz, Guevara, Jericho, and Minoru Suzuki for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Yeah. So then, let's talk about so Tony Storm versus Britt Baker match. In my opinion, this is the best Tony Storm Britt Baker match so far. And I'm so fucking impressed on both women. I think they deserve the phrases here right now. Na sobrang banger. Itong laban talaga. I love and I impressed on both women. So, yeah, gave them a lot of applause. Talaga. Sobrang they deserve it. And also, so let's talk about the title. So, total na pag-usapan natin yung women. So, si Marina Shafir and Thunder Rosa, nag-ayos na sila after their beef, quote-unquote, beef due to their match few days ago. So, yung sandbagging shit daw ni Thunder Rosa. And in my opinion, it's goods na. Huwag yun ang isipin. Huwag yun ang ipasok pa sa, pero wag niyong kakalimutan din na yung history is always a history. Pero, yeah. Let's see pa kung ano pa yung kayang gawin ni Thunder on her title run. Diba? Okay. So, finally, in the main event of Dynamite, we got Young Bucks winning the AEW tag titles against the Jurassic Express and na ladder match. Ito yung original advertised as a triple threat ladder match with Hardys. Then after of the match, Christian Cage turned on Jungle Boy, and that was a fantastic heel turn in my opinion. And that was a long overdue heel turn, I must say. After nun, yung tight feud is pinapakita nila na sobrang upset noong kapatid tsaka yung nanay ni Jungle Boy. And they flip Christian Cage out. Like, who the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? You deserve it, bitch. Ganyan. They flipped him off like, what the hell is going on here? You deserve it, bitch. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for our weekly show review for this week. So back to back naman tayo. Next week, panigurado, we're going to talk about the review from Slammiversary 2022 plus the Forbidden Door predictions on next week's episode of the pod. Then next week pala, ganun din. Kasi Forbidden Door plus Money in the Bank. Panigurado. Yun man ang plano ko for now. Yeah, so we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the predictions for Impact Wrestling's present Slammiversary 2022. But for now, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Bakit mabaho ang utot?
Lulubog na ba ang Pilipinas?
Mahihain ba ang makaya? Bakit bumabagyo sa Pinas?
Mga katanungang bumabagabag sa kaisipan ni Juan, halika, bigyan natin ng mga scientificong kasagutan. Ito ang inyong gurong lakan mula sa Bulacan, Sir Red. At ito ang Hinayin na Tagham the Podcast Year 2. Pakinggan sa lahat ng major podcast streaming platforms. Tara, matuto, magsaliksik, magkaroon ng dagdag na kaalaman. Haynayan, magpakailanman.
I loved you then, I love you now, and I will continue loving you until I can no longer.
You took a part of me until I had nothing left.
The old me had to die so the new me could be reborn.
I didn't deserve that pain. I deserve love, just not from her.
Today, I choose myself.
I wanted to tell you, but you weren't there.
These are the stories that I wish you heard. Streaming weekly episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts.
Okay, ayan. So, welcome back to the pod. So, let's talk about Shopee. Ayun, lagi naman may sale sa Shopee. If you want to support the podcast on Shopee, you can use the link on the description below o kaya podlink.co/BHX. Again, that's podlink.co/BHX. It's gonna be a big long run. And ayun, if you want to support the podcast on this platform sa Shopee. Tatawa ko dito. Putang ina, pinipigil ko lang. Okay, so let's talk about Slammiversary now. So this is the 20th anniversary event of Impact Wrestling. So first, I think this is the first time ulit na tumapat yung Slammiversary live. Tapos on the day itself, June 19. Tama ba? Tinapat nila mismo on June 19, which is great. Anniversary. So, ayun. So, we have 9 matches on the card on this year's Slammiversary pay-per-view, and we're going to talk about it right now. Okay. So, first match was a digital media title match. Rich Swann versus Brian Myers. So, originally, dapat ito ay Matt Cardona versus Rich Swann for the title rematch after Swann defeated Cardona in a match doon sa Indies, but ayun, di binigay yung belt. Ibibigay dapat ni Cardona yung belt kay Myers, pero Swann assaulted Myers on latest episode of Impact. So ayun, naset na yung match. So digital media title, Rich Swann versus Brian Myers. I must say Rich Swann wins the title. Retain for sure. Re-retain to ni Swann, which is great in my opinion. He's one of the greatest guys in Impact in my opinion. Then ayan, so the reverse battle royale returns on this year's Slammiversary. We don't know who will join the match yet, but let's see this Sunday, I guess. Okay. So, yeah. So, first major match of the event, Ace Austin versus Kenny King versus Mike Bailey versus Trey Miguel versus Jack Evans versus Alex Zane in the Ultimate X for the X Division title. Okay? So, I would love to see Ace Austin retaining the belt, my opinion. Kung title change naman, I would say Mike Bailey. I think Mike Bailey really deserves the title. No? Pero safe to say, it's Ace Austin's time. Man. So, Ace Austin. Then ito, next, another burst in Impact. It's the Queen of the Mountain match for the Knockouts Women's World Championship. So, it's Tasha Steelz, Chelsea Green, Diona Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, and Mia Yim with Mickey James as the special guest enforcer. So, expect nyo nang may shenanigans dito. But, I would say Tasha retains. O kaya, if there's a title change, it should be Chelsea Green. O kaya Mia Yim, I guess. But I would love to see Tasha retaining the belt for sure. Kung hindi nyo alam yung mga steps na yan, Google nyo na lang. But yeah, you can watch it on YouTube naman. Kasi nag-upload naman si Impact ng regular YouTube stuff for their testing para magkaroon kayo ng ideya on mangyayari sa Sunday. Monday, Manila time. Okay. So we got the Briscoes versus Good Brothers for the Impact Tag titles. I would say Good Brothers to. Good Brothers will win the title. Ayun. So, I would love to see Briscoes retaining. Pero feeling ko, Good Brothers to. Safe choice to then, Good Brothers. Then, ayan. So let's talk about a 10-man tag. So Impact Originals, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Frankie Kazarian, dalawang TBA versus Honor No More. So Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, PCO, and Vincent in a tag match. Okay. So I would say na di ko sure kung sino yung dalawang TBA. Obviously not former WWE talents. If former E talents to, matutuwa ako. Pero feeling ko hindi. Feeling ko nga sila hit eh. Sila hit or Rhino. Pero OG kasi, if we're going to talk about OG, malabo rin ng Team 3D. Ganda sana kung Team 3D to. But yeah, feeling ko the faces, the originals will lose to Honor No More. Siguro para lang mas ma-enhance pa yung build sa Honor No More. Wala rin naman kasing stake na if Honor No More loses, they will leave the company now. Siguro, ayun, sa Impact Orange ako dito. Impact Orange to. Feeling ko lang naman. Masama yung kutob ko dito. So, Moose versus Sami Callihan in a Monsters Ball match. Okay. So, yeah, it's gonna be a hard one. Kasi si Moose, binabalik yung momentum niya. Si Callihan, kakabalik lang from his injury. Hirap ito. Okay, so I'm going to choose Sami Callihan kasi comeback to. And Moose losing to a former world champion, hindi naman siguro kawalan din. Hindi din makakabawas yun. And for sure, i-continue pa nila yung feud after of Slammiversary. Na, it's 2 weeks lang naman ang pagitan ng pay-per-view and yung susunod na Impact Plus event. Then, ayun. So, The Influence versus Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie for the knockouts tag titles. I think it's gonna be Influence. Pero, yeah, I think it should be Influence. Finally, the main event of this year's Impact Slammiversary. So, it's Josh Alexander versus Eric Young for the Impact World Championship. I know may frustrations ako dito kasi EY is not that OG, but yeah, I can accept him kasi siya lang naman yung heel na kilala ko na active ngayon. So it's kinda understandable. So obviously, just for the formality, I would say Josh will retain. Then may mag-i-interrupt sa kanya pagkatapos. I would love to see Bullet Club or Ace Austin at least confronting Josh after of the match, building up a one-on-one between them or Plan C maybe. But anything can happen after of Slammiversary, panigurado. Siguro may pabitin ito. May papabitin ulit ang Impact after nito. Panigurado naman. Maybe, pero ang sure ko dito retain to. It's gonna be retain versus EY. And it's gonna be a really good match regardless of the outcome. Now, okay, so that's my predictions for this year's Slammiversary pay-per-view. If you want to watch Slammiversary on pay-per-view, you can watch it on Fight TV or any pay-per-view providers near you or sa Impact Plus o kaya sa YouTube. Sa YouTube kasi nagpe-play na rin sila ng pay-per-views. So yeah. So that's my Impact Slammiversary 2022 predictions. If you missed the episode from last Wednesday's Remembering Impact Wrestling episode, the episode is still available on your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, and the rest of the podcast platforms and on the podcast app. Okay? So, picks of the week for last week. So, man of the week is Jay White, superstar of the week yon. Then, the woman of the week is Roxanne Perez. Then, the match of the week is Kada versus Jay White from Dominion 2022. Okay? So, that's it for our very first episode of the new era of the podcast. I hope you like the new concept of the show. And I'm trying to figure things out after nito. Siguro basta ayusin natin for the next few weeks. Sobrang lala lang talaga. Sobrang lala lang talaga ng mga nangyari in the next or the past few days in WWE especially. And we're going to try to fix and to enhance things up for the better podcast. No? So follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and on TikTok at the MTG Show Pod. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more content here on the pod. Then, ayun, please support Bunk Collective. Visit our website, thebunkph.com. Follow us on social media, thebunkph, and join our Discord, bit.ly/bunkdiscord. And don't forget to follow me on social media at the MT Show Pod on social media sa podcast. And on my personal is at AG Penera. Ayun, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, thank you to my producer, DJ Yuki of the Kingdom Podcast for fixing everything up. And messing me, of course. Ayun, thank you kay Yuki for helping this show growing up on its better era. Ayun. So, that's it for our first episode of the new era of the MT Show Podcast. Again, thank you. Stay safe, stay Russell. See you on the next episode. The MT Show Podcast by Bang Collective is now signing off. Peace.